Welcome back to the second part of this intriguing story of survival and suspense. If you haven't watched the first part, please check out the video titled, "He Saved 176 Lives but What He Heard in the Black Box Changed Everything." To get more updates on newly added contents like this, please hit the subscribe button. The sound begins faintly, a low hum beneath the static of the Atlantic night. Then a whisper, barely audible. "Proceed." Technicians replay the tape again and again. Each time it's clearer. A single word, captured inside the black box of a transatlantic flight broadcast from somewhere over the ocean where no signal should exist. The room falls silent. The lead investigator leans forward and says, "That voice, it's human." But the coordinates tell another story. The transmission came from a location where nothing should be transmitting. No aircraft, no satellite, no life. Just one place. The same position over the North Atlantic, where Flight 327 nearly fell from the sky. 3 months have passed since that night. Captain Mercer is buried in Toronto. The world has moved on. But for First Officer Ryan Porter, time has not. He still dreams of that storm, the flashing lights, the alarms, the sound of his own heartbeat echoing in the cockpit. Every night, the same nightmare. Every morning, the same silence. He still flies, but something in him has changed. He avoids long routes. He sits in quiet bars after flights, staring at maps. The North Atlantic has become an obsession, an invisible scar stretching between continents. When he closes his eyes, he still hears it. The static in his headset. The faint distortion that followed the Mayday call. He remembers thinking that wasn't just interference. It sounded like something else. A word. A whisper. But he never told anyone. Until now. On February 9th, an Airbus A321 belonging to the same airline, North Atlantic Airways Flight 417, reported a strange occurrence while crossing the same corridor. At 1:12 a.m., cruising at 34,000 feet, their communications log captures a ghost signal, faint, rhythmic, not matching any known frequency. At 1:15, the co-pilot radios, "Control, we're getting some kind of feedback in the headset." It sounds like, then silence, for 11 full seconds. When they finally reconnect, the captain says one thing, "We heard a voice." ATC asks for clarification. He responds, "It said, proceed." Investigators dismiss it as interference. The ocean is vast, they argue. Radio bounce, atmospheric scatter, all normal. But a technician who analyzes the black box data notices something else. The signal matches almost perfectly the emergency frequency used by Flight 327 during its distress call months earlier. When that data reaches Ryan, his hands go cold. Because he knows that frequency was encrypted. It was never public. No one outside the flight crew could have known it. And so his obsession deepens. Ryan takes leave from the airline. Officially, it's for fatigue recovery. Privately, it's something else entirely. He spends his days at the Transportation Safety Board's archive in Ottawa, pulling flight logs, maintenance reports, and black box transcripts. The staff know him by name, the pilot who saved 176 lives. But to them, he's becoming something else, the man who can't let go. At night, he replays cockpit recordings from Flight 327. Every alarm, every breath, every flicker of static. He isolates frequencies, slows them down, reverses them, until finally faintly he hears it. Between the last 2 seconds of the Mayday transmission, a distortion, almost hidden. He turns the volume up, then stops breathing. "Proceed." The same whisper, the same tone, the same word. He stares at the screen, the waveform glowing in the dark. A sound that shouldn't exist. A voice that no one remembers hearing in the cockpit. Ryan calls the ESA investigator from Shannon, the man who handled Mercer's autopsy. He explains what he's found. The man is silent for a long time, then says, "You're not the first person to mention that." That's when Ryan learns the truth. Over the past decade, 5 other flights have reported similar anomalies. Different airlines, different aircraft, all over the same sector of the North Atlantic, each within a radius of 40 nautical miles. In every case, the aircraft experienced sudden system irregularities, uncommanded altitude changes, electrical surges, transient radio bursts. And in every case, black box data revealed the same faint signature burst at 462.9 MHz, lasting 0.7 seconds. Identical. Investigators had dismissed it as atmospheric noise. But one private report labeled it with 2 words, human origin. Ryan's obsession hardens into conviction. This isn't random. This is a pattern. He prints satellite images of the area, draws concentric circles, and cross-references positions. At the center of it all lies a patch of ocean featureless, remote, and forgotten. The coordinates match the point where Mercer collapsed, where the aircraft nearly fell, where Ryan made his mayday call. And deep beneath that spot, satellite radar shows something else, a faint metallic anomaly, roughly cylindrical, buried under thousands of meters of water. Ryan doesn't know what it is, but he knows one thing. He has to see it for himself. March 4th. Ryan boards a research vessel off the coast of Newfoundland. The Argus Explorer, a private survey ship contracted for oceanic mapping. Officially, he's there as a consultant. Unofficially, he's chasing a ghost. The crew knows his name. They've all heard of the miracle flight, but they don't know why he's really there. Only that he spends nights on deck, scanning the horizon, listening to the static of a shortwave receiver. On the fourth night, the receiver picks up a faint pulse. A repeating signal, 0.3 short bursts, then one long. It's Morse code. He decodes it slowly, finger tracing the dashes on paper. The letters spell one word. Proceed. Ryan stares into the dark water. The ocean is perfectly still. But somewhere below, something is transmitting. The ship's sonar tech confirms a weak electromagnetic field, origin depth, 3,700 meters. Exact coordinates, identical to Flight 327's emergency ping. They deploy a remotely operated submersible. The camera descends into black water, lights cutting through silt and silence. At 2,000 meters, they pass the wreck of an old cargo vessel. At 3,000, the water becomes ink. Then, at 3,700, something metallic glints in the light. It's not wreckage. It's a fragment of fuselage. White paint, letters barely visible. ATL 327. Ryan's breath catches. That's his flight. But the aircraft didn't crash. It landed safely in Shannon. He leans toward the monitor. His voice is barely a whisper. That's impossible. The captain of the Argus Explorer calls him to the bridge. Sir, you might want to see this. He points to the radar. Another contact has appeared stationary 15 nautical miles to the south. Transponder, inactive. Shape, roughly cylindrical, length 60 meters. No registration. No history. Ryan stares at the screen. The object is moving slowly, not across the water, but beneath it. 2 weeks later, Ryan is back in uniform. He's been reinstated. But something in his eyes has changed, a quiet, unwavering determination. He requests a specific flight route, Toronto to Lisbon. Same aircraft model. Same corridor. Same time of night. His colleagues call it poetic. He calls it unfinished business. Before departure, he visits Mercer's grave. He places his old captain's wings on the headstone and says quietly, "I'm going back." At 22:48 local time, Flight 601 lifts off from Toronto. The sky is calm. The passengers settle in. And as the lights of Newfoundland fade behind, the Atlantic opens before them, endless and dark. At 1:17, somewhere over the same coordinates, Ryan switches frequencies. He tunes to 462.9 megahertz. For a moment, there's only static. Then, faintly, a voice. It's his own. Mayday, mayday. Flight 327 declaring an emergency. He freezes. The sound is identical. Every inflection, every pause. It's the recording from his own flight, but played back, distorted, looping through the headset. Then comes the whisper. Proceed. Ryan's co-pilot turns to him, confused. Sir, did you hear that? But Ryan doesn't answer. He just stares ahead, eyes wide, breath shallow. And then the radio's cut out. For 11 full seconds, no signal leaves the aircraft. When it returns, the co-pilot sounds disoriented. Control, we just lost comms for a moment. Probably atmospheric interference. But Ryan knows better. He checks the coordinates. They are directly above the anomaly. He looks down at the black water below and whispers, "What do you want from me?" No reply. Just static. And the faint echo of a human breath. Flight 601 lands safely in Lisbon at dawn. No incident reported. No turbulence. No storm. Ryan walks off the aircraft without a word. He's calm. Too calm. He takes a taxi to a small hotel near the coast. He rents a boat that evening. And at 23:42, his phone goes offline. 3 days later, the vessel is found adrift, empty. Engine running. GPS frozen at the same coordinates where the signal originated. Inside the cabin, investigators recover his headset and a handheld recorder. The last few seconds of the tape capture the sound of waves, wind, and then the same word. Proceed. To this day, aviation authorities list Ryan Porter as missing at sea. No trace ever found. But every few months, a pilot flying the transatlantic corridor reports strange interference. A pulse. A whisper. And when technicians replay the black box audio, deep beneath the static, they swear they hear something. A man's voice. Come. Steady. Mayday, Mayday Flight 327 declaring an emergency. Then silence. And the ocean stretches on, vast and unknowable, guarding whatever truth lies beneath. To find out about what happened in the final saga, stick here for the third and final part of this intriguing event. Please like, comment, share and hit the subscribe button.